Now, folks, I want to make very clear that I am not, repeat, I am not starting the show early. I took some stark, harsh criticism for starting the show early the other day because some people that didn't get here early were upset that I started early. So I'm not starting the show early today. This is the pre-show. And since the show doesn't start until 6 and it's now 9 minutes, let's take some time to do some rod questions. Let's do some rod questions for the next 9 minutes. So fire when ready. Fire when ready. Rod questions. Fire when ready. Has Jeff started the show? No, see? Jeff has not started the show. So don't even think that Jeff has started the show because he has not started the show. Did I buy the right deck of cards for myself? Davey asks. Davey asks, did I buy the right deck of cards for myself? Yes, Davey. I think it might be hard to buy the wrong deck of cards. Donna Miller asks, will she ever win the lottery? No. And because, Donna, pretty much the lottery, ow, that hurt. The lottery is a tax on stupidity. Almost no one wins the lottery. Should I quit my job, says Nappy Yogi? Yes, but maybe not right away. Is the Mississippi drying up? No. Will TC4 hit the earth? Will TC4 hit the earth? Not saying. Misty Kruger, am I on the right path? Yes. Misty had her palms read the other day, sent me a letter that said it was spot on. Thank you for that, Misty. I appreciate it. I don't know if you wanted me to tell everybody that. Sorry, I should have asked before I did, but guess what? It's kind of out of the bag now. Chelsea Rose supposed to be a social worker? The rods say no, but maybe something like that. Good morning, Nana. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate that. Here we go again. Though we'll ask it. Is the earth flat? No. Is Hetty a kinfolk from Ireland? Well, yeah, kind of, sort of. Yeah, kind of, sort of. You're welcome, Misty. The letter says, dang it. They are just copper rods. And I did mail out I'm completely caught up on rod orders. And I know for some reason it said that the rods were out of stock, but they aren't because I make them to order. So I fixed that up. Is the earth knobberly? Not sure what that means, but no. The earth is flat all the way around it. And Gary, I think you're right on that. The earth is flat all the way around it. That's interesting to even think about it in those terms. My goodness, didn't get this notice. Hi, fearless people. Is the earth bumpy? Yeah, I'm sure it's bumpy. Oh, that's interesting. Are the fires in California deliberately set? Yeah, but not all of it. Yeah, but not all of it. This is the pre-show, Christine M. Lester. This is the not the show pre-show because I would never start a show earlier. Is Hetty a witch? No, not really. We got 5 minutes. Any more questions? Any more questions? Is Yellowstone going to blow soon? No. Are more portals being opened? Not saying. That's interesting. Now I'm seeing some names come up that I unbanned, so we'll see how they behave. Will Florida be hit by a tsunami? No, thank goodness. Will Gary Baxter's hernia operation be a success? Yes. Wake up, rods. They're kind of sluggish today. I'm not sure why. Is Jeff satisfied in his pat? I don't know what you mean by pat. Were the California fires caused by man? Yes. Does my bloodline stem from Ireland? Dave Coy asked, does my bloodline stem from Ireland? Yes. Ha ha ha, Christine. Will NYC be hit by bombs? No. I guess my question isn't relevant then. I don't know what that means. Did Jeff use hair gel? Let's see what this says. Did Jeff use hair gel? No, I didn't use hair gel. I used this little bit of hair paste. Is there a generational curse in Nappy Yogi's family? No. Is time travel possible? Is time travel possible? This is a good question. Yes. Is my interpretation of dreams last night correct? First of all, only reason I'm answering this for Sandra is because I know that she already has thought about it. So this is just confirmation. Is Sandra's interpretation of dreams last night correct? Yes. Is my twin counterpart who I think it is? Maybe. Will NYC be wiped out? No. Should I be an astrologer, says Chelsea Moore. No response. Should I be an astrologer? No response. Should I be an investigator, asks Seeker of Truth. Yes. Will there be revolution in Australia? No. This is an interesting one. Should we buy yen? It says no. All right, I think it's about time to start the show because that wasn't the show. We did not start the show early because I would never start the show early. So hello, folks. This is the Christian Whistleblower, Jeffrey Daugherty. Welcome to the Gospel Truth channel. And we're back for another great show with you here. Regularly scheduled shows at 11 a.m., 6 p.m., and 11 p.m. and much, much more in addition to that. So hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell so you will sometimes be alerted to new programming. So as you can see, we're talking tonight about the full armor of real gods, always use protection, and also the full armor of God from the biblical perspective, bogus, and even bogus. So let's talk about this. We're talking about arranging a confederation of gods and gods in training to evict he that should not be named from his rulership of the world, because it's proven over 10,000 years that he's an abject failure. So I've said that we should do protection rituals. We should get ourselves dialed in. So one of the things that people think about when they think about protection is they think about because a lot of people come from the Pauline Christianity school of thought. When a lot of people think about protection, they're thinking about this right here. The full armor of God. Pauline concept, Pauline construct. And I'm trying to help you get it out of your mind, because not only is it silly, it's also designed to be a detriment to you. And it's also designed to make you ineffective. So Paul says this: be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. And right there, that should cue you in. You know, it's amazing to me that some of you can find the blue Avian behind every bush. It's amazing to me that some of you can find the reptilian behind every rock. Some of you can find the Illuminati symbolism. Some of you can find the Masonic imagery. Some of you can find the numerological absurdities and hidden codes and things in everything. But you can't see the problem with the verse that says, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Don't you realize that if you're being strong in the Lord and in the power of his might, that you're subjecting your power and your might? Why don't you be strong in yourself and in the power of your might? Well, the Lord is strong and I'm weak, and he's mighty and I'm just a mouse. Well, that's what they want you to think. Now, if you can figure out all of the Illuminati symbolism in the Teletubbies cartoon, surely you can figure out that when they're encouraging you to be strong in the Lord and the power of his might, they're discouraging you to discover and manifest your own power. And when they're telling you to put on the armor of he that shall not be named, to stand against the wiles of he that shall not be named, that should raise a red flag. Be strong in he that shall not be named, in the power of his might. Put on his armor that you may be able to stand the wiles of him. Because the things that they're telling you to protect yourself from are things that he's doing, or at the very least, things that he's sponsoring. And then they drop a little truth on you. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities, powers, rulers of the darkness of this world, spiritual wickedness in the heavenlies. That's true. And every good lie drops in a little bit of truth. And so they drop some truth on you. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We don't wrestle against principalities. We don't wrestle against powers, rulers of darkness of the world, but against rulers of the darkness of the world, against spiritual wickedness on high. Remember, the places is italics. That means it's added. That doesn't mean that there's not wicked flesh and blood, because there is wicked flesh and blood. But you got to get rid of the principalities, the powers, the rulers of the darkness, and the spiritual wickedness on high, because that's what's empowering the flesh and blood wickedness. So what they're trying to get you to do is to focus on letting the Lord do it. Put the fox in charge of the hen house. And don't use your own power and your own might. And put on his armor so you can stand against him. Reminds me of this. Some of you will remember this verse. David's going up against Goliath. And this is kind of interesting, because people are saying to me, Jeff, you can't go up against a God. What's the matter with you? How can you go up against a God? Well, first of all, I'm not convinced that he that shall not be named even is a real God. I'm not and we know he's not. He's a fallen God. He was thrown out of the council of the gods. So first of all, I think the question might be bogus, because he's not really a God. But anyway, Jeff, how can you go up against a god? I'm sure that David, who wasn't real, and this is not a real story, but David said, well, David was a golem. But anyway, I digress. David said that he's going to go up against Goliath, right? A huge giant. And Saul said to David, hey, man, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Oh, I pointed at that with my finger. That probably doesn't help you out very much. He said, David, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. And what did stupid Paul say? Be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. And Saul said, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. And then Saul armed David with his armor and put a helmet of brass upon his head and a coat of mail and sword and armor. Just like, oh, and look at this. Oh, did you catch it? I didn't even catch it. Look at this. It was King Saul that told David to do this when he was fighting a giant. And who's telling us over here to do it? Paul, who is really Saul. Oh, snap a lap. Well, that's what you call a little revelation right there, ladies and gentlemen. So Saul was telling David who was fighting a giant, and Saul is telling us who's fighting giants. And what did Saul tell David to do? Saul said, hey, put on my armor. What's Paul telling people to do? Hey, put on the Lord's armor. Put on the Lord's armor. Loins girt with truth, breastplate of righteousness, preparation of the gospel, shodding the feet, shield of faith, sword of the Spirit. Put all that stuff on. And what did Saul say? What did the Saul number 1 say? He said, listen, man, take my armor. Take my sword. Take my shield. Take my helmet. And what did David say? David said, I can't go with these. David said, I can't wear this stuff. I can't wear this stuff. And when Paul says to you, put on the breastplate of righteousness, gird your loins with truth, have the preparation of the gospel of peace, shield of faith, sword of the Spirit, helmet of salvation, take all that, you should respond like David did to the first Saul, I cannot go with these. They're not mine. I haven't created them. I haven't used them. They're not mine. And what did David do? David took his staff and he took 5 stones out of the brook. His staff, which is symbolic of his own personal power. What did David do? David said he took his staff and he took some smooth stones. Reminds me of this fellow right here, the fool. Or possibly even this fellow right here, the magician. Let's look at that for a second. And I didn't even think about this. This is why I like me some live shows every now and then, because this is some good stuff. When you think about the fool, what's the fool got? The fool's got what? He's got his staff, and he's got that bag up there. How do you know he ain't got 5 smooth stones in that bag? This is what he's got in that bag. He's got number 1, a cup. He's got number 2, a dagger. He's got number 3, his robe. He's got number 4, his wand. And there's got to be a 5th one in there somewhere. We just haven't seen it yet. He's got his 5 smooth stones. He's prepared. He's prepared. What's he got? He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 5 implements. If you look on that, between what he's holding and what's on the table, he's got 5 implements. Do you think it's just and he's got them in that bag on his staff. Do you think it's just a coincidence that David said, look, I'm going to take my staff and give me 5 smooth stones. Give me 5 things out of nature. Give me 5 things that come from the elements. And do you think it's any Do you think it's any coincidence that they're shown as being with the magician? And what's the magician do? The magician works rituals. The magician works his own protection, his own spells, if you will. The magician works his own stuff by working in congruence with the elements. Oh, there's 5 elements: earth, air, water, fire, ether. Oh, how about that? Oh, somebody's getting some revelation here. This is some good stuff. So, but what Paul wants you to do, is this. Paul wants you to take the armor of God, girt your loins about with truth, cover your reproductive parts and your centers of sex magic energy with the Lord's stuff. Neuter yourself, men. Spay yourself, ladies. Allow the Lord to rob you of all of your sex magic energy. And then put on the Lord's breastplate, which is going to stop all of your heart power, your heart intention, your heart magic. And then shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace, so you're cut off from the power of Mother Earth. And then take the shield of faith. The shield of faith, if the Lord gives you something to shield yourself with, he's shielding you from things he doesn't want you to be involved with, which are the powers of the natural earth and the world and energy. And then put on the Lord's helmet, which is going to block out all of your intuition, block out your comforter activation. It's going to block out all of the divine download. Put that on and block yourself out. And then take the word of God, take the Lord's word, and just take his word for it and just do what he says. He's trying to tell you, if you take up the full armor of he that shall not be named, you will remain a captive of he that shall not be named. And you may think you look good, but it's stupid. And it's designed specifically to keep you from being effective in the real spiritual contest in which we are involved. Whether or not you want to take on he that shall not be named or not, when you're living your life, you have to be doing these things. And basically, Paul is telling you, and Saul is telling you, whatever you do, don't be a magician. Don't use those 5 elements that David used back in the day to defeat the giant. Don't use those, because if you do, you will defeat the giant. And we don't want you becoming magicians. We don't want you becoming adepts at using the powers of nature and the powers of energy and the powers of intention. We don't want you using those 5 smooth stones that have already been proven to kill giants. Can you understand what I'm saying to you? There are 5 smooth stones that have already been proven to kill giants. And there they are right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 smooth stones that have been already proven to kill giants. And ladies and gentlemen, we are in the giant killing business, and cousin business is a booming. They don't want you to be powerful. They don't want you to be wall to wall and treetop tall. They don't want you to be on point, locked and loaded. They don't want you to be dialed in, turned up, and ready to rock and roll. That's what they don't want. They don't want that stuff. And they don't want you walking around with the attitude of this guy. Take on a God, no problem. I'll do it. They don't want you in that kind of an attitude. They want you draped with what they call armor, which is what blocks you away from the earth and the intentions and the energies, and they know it. Watch this. Here's Paul again, Saul, your friendly neighborhood false apostle, saying, the weapons of our warfare are not the weapons of the world. Let's go into King James, what everybody knows. Which one was that I was looking at? I was looking at 10:4. 10:4, good buddy. 10:4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty to the pulling down of strongholds. Another truth they drop in. We can cast down imaginations. We can cast down high things. We can pull down strongholds. We can pull down the knowledge of a false god. And we can bring into captivity all thoughts. Again, there's 5 things. But Paul drops truth on us and says the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. But yet, when he tells you what to put on, what does he talk about? Carnal Roman legion warfare. Armor of the Roman legion. Can't you see the fixes in? The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but let's take on carnal imagery of our weaponry. Folks, you don't have to be the sharpest knife in the drawer to figure out that they're trying to mess with you big time. And just in case I wasn't showing that, which I might not have been because I have a bad habit that I'm breaking about that, we were talking about 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse number 4. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. They're mighty to the pulling down of strongholds, imaginations, high thing, knowledge, thought. 5 things again. That's why Dave always, oh man, there's a revelation. Here it is. March 11th, 2017. And I've been wondering about this for maybe 40 years. I've been wondering about this. Why did David pick 5 smooth stones? Why not 4? Why not 3? Why not 1 if he was really sure of himself? Why did David pick 5 smooth stones? Well, he picked 5 smooth stones because there's 5 implements of the magician, which we're going to get into in detail. Count them. Look at his hand, 1, and then there's 4 on the table. 5 smooth stones. And then there's 5 things. There's 5 things, remember, 5 things that we are warring against. Imaginations, 1. High things, 2. Knowledge, bad knowledge, 3. Thoughts, 4. Things that lift themselves against the knowledge, that's 5. 5 things. That's why he took 5 smooth stones, because there's 5 things that we deal against, and there's 5 things that we use in our warfare. Wow. That's very, very, very powerful stuff. Very, very powerful stuff. So forget the full armor of he that shall not be named, because it's meant to keep you from being effective. The typology of David, the guy going up against a giant, which is who we are. He was smart enough to say, I'm not wearing that stuff. David was smart enough to say, get that con out of my face. David was strong enough to say that. And when they start talking to you about put on the armor of God, you got to say, get that con out of my face. You got to get to that place where you're saying that. You got to get to that place where you're doing that. So how do we use these 5 smooth stones? How do we use these 5 implements of spiritual power? We're going to talk about this more. I'm going to put that right up there so I remember. But here's what we need to do at the very minimum. And I want to show you something that I think will help you. I'm going to show you when I say stuff like, oh, well, it's just on this channel. Just look it up. You're like, well, how do we do that? Sometimes I wonder about some of y'all. You're so used to having stuff handed to you. You're so used to microwave reality that when somebody tells you to study something, you look at them with a hairy eyeball. Here's what you do. You go up here and you go to youtube.com. All right, we're on YouTube. And then You go up here to Jeff Darty. Let's say you wanted to learn about the 12D shield, which is what we all should be doing at least once every day. Jeff Darty, 12D shield. And then you hit enter. And look what happens. Jeff Darty, 12D shield. Here's the long version reacting to Lisa Renee's 12D shield. And there's also a shorter version. There's my reaction to Lisa Renee's 12D shield. So you can listen to that. You can hear what I had to say about the 12D shield. Or if you just want how to do the 12D shield, just hit 12D shield. Let's see if you could just hit 12. Yeah, 12D shield, 12D shield building technique. This is the one you want.
Shield building technique.
Renee's voice is a little.
Declaration of intention.
I do this every day. I have a shortened version of it, but I would do this every day because I'm entering into spiritual warfare and I want to shield myself. So do the 12D shield every day. And if you want the expanded me talking about it and giving you all the whatnots and wherefores and stuff, go to that one. Watch that.
My name is Drew.
Don't watch Drew because we don't care if he's ready for a zombie apocalypse or not. But my sister says he's a nice guy. And right now, Jeff Darty's live with the full armor of God. But this will tell you what I'm thinking about with the 12D shield. And this gives you a breakdown of the whole ritual. So do this every day. Do it every day. And what else should we be doing? You know, you hear me talking about the LBRP. Well, what the hell is an LBRP? Well, we can just look up Jeff Darty, LBRP. You can look up anything about what I've taught, and there it is. It's just that easy. And here's a LBRP, a D-Rat bastardized version. This is the one I suggest you use. Here's a LBRP for those that don't like the pentagram. Something you can use there. So all you have to do is go on here. I bet it's Drew again. No.
But that's okay.
And see, I give you, boom, how to do it. How to do it. And for the record, this was not a dirty sheet. This was a backdrop that a photographer gave me. I thought it looked pretty good, but most of you thought it looked pretty bad. And I must say that I did find out that I had it backwards. I did. The other side, when I took it down, it looked a whole lot better. So anyway, just for the record, I would do this at least once every day. And if you're doing this at least once every day, you know, after a few times, you shouldn't have to look at it anymore and read it like this. You should be able to just do it. I do it naked. Yes, I do. With the blinds closed. That's just me. Some people like to do it in a robe. They like to have a special ritual robe, like our friend right here. But it's up to you. But these are the things that these are the weapons of your warfare that are not carnal. These are the weapons that are used by the true spiritual practitioner. 12D shielding, LBRP. And I'm going to go into some more later today about other things that I think that you should be using every day. I'm going to show you a relaxation ritual, which is really a beginner course on meditation, which will help you get into a meditative practice. So you can all be like Sandy, who's doing meditations 20 minutes a day, twice a day, and then you're going to be 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Sandra, I'm sorry. My neighbor in Orlando was Sandy, and I liked her, but Sandra does it 20 minutes a day, twice a day, and that's impressive right there, ladies and gentlemen. So those are the things that are going to get you to where you want to be. Those are the real armor of God. Those are the true armor of God. Those are the 5 smooth stones of the Elohim, and not the 5 bogus pieces of shut you down equipment of the rat bastard. The rat bastard has 5 pieces of bogus Roman equipment that he wants you to put on. Is it 5? Let's look again. I think it's 5. And if it's really 5, dude, I'm really impressed. If it's 5, I'm like, wow, this is really, really deep. Let's see if it's actually 5. How many things does he want us to put on? Let's do like Sesame Street, the count. Okay. Have your loins girt with truth. 1. Put on the breastplate of righteousness. 2. Have your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel. 3. Take the shield of faith. 4. And take the helmet of salvation. 5. 5 things. I guess there's really 6 if you add the sword, but I'm going to just pretend there's 5 because it fits my analogy. You could take the 5 smooth stones of the Elohim or the 6 pieces of Roman junk and think about it. 6 is a man number. It's a man thinking number. There's a way that a man thinks that's going to work, but it doesn't work. 5 is a spiritual number. So there you go. Trying to help a brother out, trying to help a sister out, trying to help you get dialed in and get you to where you need to be. Because that's what it's all about. D-Rat Bastardized LBRP. 12D Shield. These are the things that you need to dive into. And I'm always worried when I do this, but I'm going to go into the chat room. And let's see what we got going on today. Because a lot of times there's knuckleheads in the chat room. You know that? And we didn't start the show early, but we did take some early Rod questions. So you'll see a lot of those in the chat room if you go up. Okay, so let's look. There's the aforementioned Sandra. Let me get through all these questions. 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 Time to kick him to the curb. I like Rocker Chick's attitude. Thanks, Jeff and Rods. Who's Rod? Any knowledge as to the whereabouts of Denise James? No. I don't know where Denise, I haven't seen Denise in a while. That's right. Gary feels pretty. Oh, so pretty. Gary Baxter. Teletubbies. I was joking, Rocker Chick. But don't you remember when Jerry Falwell and the Teletubbies were of the devil? It was a joke, guys, about the Teletubbies. Oh, my. We're all going with you, Jeff. I'm ready to put this God on trial for crimes against humanity. Absolutely, Michael. I think David was a golem. Look it up. Remember how I just showed you Jeff Doherty? David, a golem. You'll see it. King Saul is Paul. You know what? I thought about that, Brian, many times. And I think you might be right. And Rudy, yeah, I postulated that David was a golem. Yeah, 5 smooth stones. He said, get that corn out of my face. Lots of power in a big dot of wood. Exactly, Davey. I like it. My name is a teaching in itself. Michael means Elohim. Anthony means worthy of praise. Elohim, worthy of Elohim praise. I like it. I meditate on Archangel Michael, and he gave me a key to heavenly armor. Okay, cool. I did, Jen. Thank you. I think there's also 5 senses. I like that. David was certainly making useful of all the elementals. Yep. A spiritual straitjacket. Well stated, Jen Fisher. Got sword and axes. We're ready. Finger in the face of the rat bastard. Yeah, I'm with you. Hey, was Jeff a King James, a Mason? I don't know for sure, but it looks like he was. Paul was a Roman army recruitment poster boy. Yes, he was. 5 rune stones, 5 senses, 5 elements. I like it. We are also gods and goddesses in training. Yes, we are. I've seen the prison. We're in it. Yep. Knife, shield, staff, scroll, cup. Knife, shield, staff, scroll, cup. Bingo. That's 5. That's 5. Can we have that as a ringtone? That's a great idea. I don't know what I did with that thing. I moved it. That thing that says it automatically. I recommend Jeff's version of 12D. Thank you. I like it too. Don't dangle for our delight, please. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, that must have been when I was talking about being naked. Lead-lined equipment. All kinds of dangling and proper kilt wearing. There you go. Whoops. It jumped on me again. It jumped on. There it is again. We're talking about dangling. Let's get past the dangling. Let's get past the dangling. I don't know about AEMI. The chat room is fun. God is good. He's terrific. I'm glad to hear it. Jeff, I got a P. Yeah, okay, that's funny. Do you believe in the protection of the white light? No. John, Paul, Paul and John, maybe George and Ringo, yeah. When did the video about Genesis 6:4 basically saying there were no giants, fallen angels mating with women? Now you say they are giants. Well, here's the, again, all you have to do is go onto YouTube, Jeff Darty, Sons of God, Daughters of Men, Jeff Darty, Giants, and you'll find it. There were sons of God marrying daughters of men, and there were giants. All you have to do is read the scripture. There were sons of God marrying daughters of men, and there were giants. But the sons of God marrying the daughters of men were not giants. They were just human men born of human women. That's exactly what the scripture says. There were sons of God, which are men born to human mothers, who were marrying daughters of men. There were dudes marrying chicks, and there were also giants in the land. Sons of God, daughters of men, and giants. Sons of God, daughters of men, and giants. Different. It wasn't the giants that were doing the diddling. It was the other two. Are we really going to talk about there's naked girls waiting? Where is that? How can we not have grabbed that one? We're going to just, I'll just remove it at this point. Transparent dangling carrots. Wow. Jeff, surely that hurt. What hurt? I don't know what hurt. Giants Causeway in Ireland. No angel sex. No. Angel sex, angels, spiritual beings having sex with humans is a lie made up by chuckleheads like Marzulli. It never happened. It's part of the fear agenda. It's part of the agenda to disempower you. It's part of the scare fear tactic. Spiritual beings don't have sex with humans. They don't have sex with humans. End of story. Ever seen the Loch Ness Monster? Davey's probably rolling his eyes right now, cursing in some ancient Scottish dialect. He's heard it. Very cool. That's very interesting. I did a show about the Nessie one time, and you know how to find it. Mazda and Brooks in the house. Remember Babel? Absolutely. No, there's something. Don't know that it's Nessie, though. Okay. Cool. Well, folks, there you go. There you go. That's some good teaching about armor of God. That's some good teaching about spiritual armor. That's some good practical application that you can do, that you can make things say. You know, Davey, every time I read you, I hear you like the people on Outlander. I've been watching that series. All right, guys, that's it. I appreciate your questions. I appreciate your answers. I do salute all of you that are here seeking after truth. Remember, you don't have any original sin. You got the spark of divinity within. That's a stupid thing to say. Sorry, Unplug the Matrix, but that's gone. That's one of the dumbest things you can do. One of the stupidest things you can do. That's just no, that's not just my opinion. That's the truth. Anyway, either the world's gone crazy or you have. Time to decide which. We'll be here to help you when you do. First step is unindoctrinate yourself. And to do that, it's essential that you stay fearless, my friends.